What is going on, everybody? It is Intelligent Cycle here. I'm back with another movie review, and this time it's for one of my most anticipated, not only horror movies of the year, one of my most anticipated films of 2025, and that is 28 Years Later. This is directed by Danny Boyle and co-written and produced by Alex Garland. This stars Jodie Comer, Aaron Taylor Johnson, Ralph Fiennes, Alfie Williams as Spike, etc., etc. So we end up killing with a group of survivors from who are survivors of the rage virus on this small island, and crossing and once one of the groups leaves on the island on a mission into the mainland, he discovers secrets and wonders and horrors that have mutated not only the infected but the other survivors. So what happens? I saw at the beginning point of the movie, you saw that it was an absolute terrifying opening sequence where we end up seeing, this little boy, and his mother and his whole family were kind of, and his whole siblings were infected by by this rage virus and group of zombies that were absolutely infected. So they were trying to infect the other main survivors, and the boy ends up escaping to live and tell this story the next following sequence. But it showcases a lot of what happened during the British War, and how a lot of the infections and a lot of the infected of the zombies were taking place and taking its own taking the whole thing by storm. And it was a chaotic sequence, because it saw overall what happens where a group of people where they are completely affected by the virus that can cause people to suffer from diseases, suffer from symptoms that can instantly kill in an instant. But also Aaron Taylor Johnson, who plays the father of Alfie Williams' son as Spike. We saw them because we kind of see him take him on his first hunt, his first hunt in the wilderness, in the wild, and pretty much on the mainland. And we saw that was showing him how to shoot arrows in order for him to have his first kill by one of these infected zombies that were, terrorizing and killing any which way possible of all, like main human survivors. And he tells him this story later on about this Dr. Kelsine, played by Ralph Fiennes. He tells him that he ends up seeing how he ends up trying to curate and ends up having to affect about what happened during the times of these zombie-like creatures were affecting these group of survivors in the mainland. And he ends up having a bunch of humans who were pretty much killed and pretty much vanquished. He ends up having them all lined up in a whole group of area. And once Spike learns in the history and the story behind it, it doesn't affect him, because he wants to try to help his mother out, because his mother had been sick for a while. But he ends up learning the whole thing about why his mother had been sick for a while. She ends up experiencing a lot of hallucinations. She ends up having episodes and visions. What she ended up seeing and showcasing. Isla is Spike's mother. She ends up having episodes, illusions, delusions, and she ends up seeing things abruptly that she ends up not remembering, and ends up forgetting, and short memory loss. But what he ends up going to try to find this doctor to end up trying to find a cure for his mother being sick. But he would do everything in his power. Spike would do everything in his power as a kid, to try to help his parents out whenever the best way he can. The pros and the cons for the movie is because let me just say this, my thoughts overall as I was coming out of the theater watching it, man. What I really loved about this movie, and I'll get to my pros, the biggest positives I have for this movie. Number one, I love the music in this movie. I really thought that it showed the aftermath, the overall effects and the aftermath of just what it is like to be such in a overall chaotic world and a field, and knowing that you're hoping to survive from these, infected zombie creatures, and knowing that it shows like you're at war, you're at battle, you're battling, in the trenches, you're battling the temptations, the trials and tribulations of knowing that you could pretty much die and get bitten from just a small or bigger tad bite from these zombies, and infected by causing a virus. At the end of the day, I really love just the music and how it felt so thematic, it felt so cinematic, and it gave just overall that theme and appearance of its own character. I really do love that about the musical score. And overall, I loved another thing that I really love, and it was a big pro, is I love the visuals, effects, and I also love the camera work in the movie by Danny Boyle, man, and shows that he pretty much is crafting this film. And also, you can tell that it's not beyond what we saw in the past from 28 days or even 28 weeks, where it was like a whole bunch of gritty and grimy, shaky cam, like hard to grip it, hard to tell. And you can just mainly just focusing on Jack and Ellie from the previous film, from the previous 28 days later, where it shows this zombie apocalyptic future. Here, it's not showing that at all. It's mainly, you can tell that it's a lot bigger budget. I think this set was set like $80 million budget. So it's a lot bigger budget than 28 days and even 28 weeks. It was more smaller scale, smaller budget. So that's why you can tell that it wasn't as properly and orientally crisp. I feel like with the camera work and the visuals, you can tell that they was taking their time and crafting and really showing something that's worth value, and really making you care, and really making you seeing what was going on, and visually giving a overall spectacle, giving an overall textile vision of what he was going with, of what Danny Boyle was going with. So the visuals and overall the camera work, and how it was all at one point, because they were showing like the war, the British American War, and what was going on in the mainland, such like back in the late 1800s, how it was showing that side and how it was showing that future, but at the same time, it was really and how it was showcasing in black and white, but then it showcased in modern day and how it was brightful and colorful. So I really like the mixture of dabbling of elements that they did with that. And number three, the main big pro is the overall character development. The character development was really, really solid between Isla, played by Jodie Comer, and Alfie Williams as Spike. I really like their chemistry. I really like Aaron Taylor Johnson, the father, and Spike, their chemistry in the beginning. I really do thought that they really had it going on. I really thought that they had a lot more screen time, and gave a lot more screen time to do. That was really, really important. I really did like the character development with the Dr. Calstop, played by Ralph Fiennes, and when he, tries to help Spike, his mother is Isla, and wondering and curious why he was sick. He does a lot of like he covers himself up in like blood, and covers himself like in red like dye to try to prevent himself from having like attacked by these zombie creatures. So it protects him and keeps him upright. So I really do like the way they showed his character and what he was able to do. Oh, excuse me, Dr. Kelson. I meant to say, yeah, he really, really was really a shining moment in here. Let me get to another character I really enjoy. I really do like, yeah. So those are the main four characters that I really wanted to talk about, that I really enjoyed, and I really liked their chemistry. All of them, I thought they really did their thing in here. they really kind of just brought the film in its own entirety, and really made the screen time worthwhile. Um, Another big pro that I do like is I like the risk, the the risk taking, the overall ambitions, the ambiguity, and the overall the sets and the shot locations, because it really just gave me feeling that it wasn't just a typical zombie movie that showcases a lot of apocalyptic future, like the bones, the skulls, and the bones and skull crushings. As soon as you enter the mainland, these soldiers who were getting attacked and they were getting, vanquished and tranquilized by these zombies, man. And then the main big, and then the main big zombie creature who was pretty much biting and tearing people's heads cross open. He showing him it was really really crazy. It was really really very nail biting and flinching and cathartic, but at the same time it was mainly it was thought provoking, and it had a central message in a really good way, explaining how this virus can affect the whole survivors. It can affect the whole world around you, and how you got to pretty much protect yourself at all costs. So I really do like the way that this film was really just giving hints and details, and really just concentrating more on not just the storytelling, not just the subplots, but really focusing on the character development, and really focusing on just getting you entrenched and really getting you entrenched and involved in the story. So those are the main big pros. Now, I will say the only negative that I will say is mainly the ending. And when we get to introduce these main character, I'll just say the other main character who plays this character called Jimmy, and we saw him and his family. I thought that was a complete waste of time with introducing and pushing those characters in the film. Um, mainly his sister, and just the whole family. When we end up seeing the ending, just overall felt very bittersweet moment. It felt very anticlimactic. It felt very contrived, and I didn't really like that part about the film. And I wish that I get what it was trying to do, and it went away a bit from the overall central theme, and went away. The ending kind of felt anticlimactic, and it went away from the overall central theme. It felt more of like a fantasy drama horror than an actual serious, more dark, more premise, and more just nail biting tone drifter, tone setting, and a tone drifter. It really felt like it was trying to be more of a fantasy horror rather than being just a, a a crime thriller, a horror crime thriller movie. That's what it felt like to me, and it towards the ending. And I really didn't like the new characters that they try to add, but I do think the ending did go in a direction where it's a cliffhanger, and it kind of just showing you that they're gonna make more films of these. They're gonna make more films towards the future. So I definitely can't wait to see what's gonna be towards that tail end in the future. Um, and I can't wait to see what was gonna happen next. That really is gonna get it really is gonna get the audience going and get the audience excited for something. So that would be the main criticism that I have. Is I think the ending should have went in a completely different direction, and I didn't really like the introduction of these new characters because I really didn't think they added too much majority of the story. So that is a main thing that I would say is a criticism for me. But overall, I love 28 Years Later. I think it's a nail biting, gut wrenching, thought provoking, very detail oriented, and a great set of character development. And it really shows and showcases and the really good visual effects and looks of the zombie creatures, and how you're entering the realm and the world of just knowing that it's surviving against and going against all odds and surviving at all costs, knowing that you know you have to overall protect yourself, and knowing that you might not be well accepted and well oriented entering this whole area in prime. So it was a really solid zombie flick, man. Very, very attention to detail, and I definitely highly recommend it to everybody. And I had to rate it. I give it, and I usually don't like to give uh, a perfect score, until I see it twice to really give it a perfect score. But right now, I'm in the middle of just giving it a 3.5 out of 4 stars. I really did enjoy this movie. I really did enjoy the realm, and the pacing was great. It flew by completely fast. It didn't feel like I was bored with it. It didn't feel like I was, looking at my watch or looking at my phone or anything. I was just completely enthralled and entrenched on what was happening and what was going to happen in the world and the realm of these characters, man. From Isla and Dr. Kelson and of course Alfie Williams' Spike, and Spike's father and his uncle, Spike's uncle. I thought they all did their thing, and I thought they all had a really good performances. So, really good movie. Definitely check it out. Highly recommended. Um, and definitely is up there as one of my top favorite movies of 2025. It's definitely going to be up there, and I cannot wait to see what's going to happen with the 28 years franchise and this new franchise, as if it's going to continue on. I can't wait to see what's going to happen and where it's going to lead to and where it's going to go, because it leaves you on a cliffhanger and it leaves you guessing what the next film and where the next theme and the next overall arc is going to feel like. So definitely a solid film. Check it out. Cannot recommend it enough. And it's definitely worn and it lives up all to the hype. So yeah, that's my overall review of 28 Years Later. So check it out, man. And of course, the next film I'm going to talk about is probably Superman for 2025. Seen bits and pieces of the trailers. I loved it. I cannot wait to see that one. But that'll be my next film I'm going to talk about. But other than that, thank you guys for watching this review. And I cannot wait to, if I do have time to get into spoilers for 28 Years Later, I will. But other than that, probably not. But yeah, thank you guys for watching my review. I am out. Peace. And I'll talk to you guys in the next one.